Hello and welcome back to the Pitch Perfect weekly podcast. We are currently navigating the fallout of a chaotic set of Champions League playoff first legs that saw heavyweight stumbles and underdogs finding their bite. As we pivot to Premier League Gameweek 27, the focus shifts to a massive North London derby and a title race where Arsenal currently hold an 80.92% chance of lifting the trophy. Let's dive into every fixture with the statistical depth you've come to expect. So we start with Benfica, who lost 1-0 to Real Madrid at home. Real Madrid ground out a vital 1-0 advantage at the Estadio de Luz, thanks to a 50th minute clinical strike from Vinicius Jr. The Brazilian winger, who currently leads the tournament with 13 goal involvements, was at the heart of the action in a match overshadowed by allegations of racial abuse towards him, which triggered the UEFA anti-racism protocol. Benfica struggled to penetrate a Madrid low block that recorded 48 successful tackles, and their task in the second leg at the Bernabeu is now immense. Jose Mourinho was also sent off for a dissent late in the game, meaning he will be denied a technical area return to his former home in the return leg. In the most shocking result of the round, Galatasaray dismantled Juventus 5-2 in Istanbul to take total control of the tie. The Turkish side recorded a staggering 3.414 xG compared to Juve's 1.08, exploiting a defensive high-line that lacked its usual discipline. Gabriel Zara and Noah Lang were the architects of the chaos, while Juventus suffered from a lack of defensive cohesion after losing Gleison Bremer to injury mid-match. Statistically, Juve has never overturned a 3-goal deficit in their European knockout history, making the Turkish champions heavy favourites to reach the round of 16. Next, an all-French thriller at the Stade Louis II, which saw defending French champions PSG edge out Monaco 3-2. Despite Monaco taking an early 2-0 lead, PSG's superior technical floor allowed them to maintain 58% possession and strike back to their clinical front line. Monaco recorded 16 attempts, but they were punished for defensive fragility, conceding 3 goals from just 5 big chances created by Luis Enrique's side. PSG enters the second leg at the Parc des Princes with a narrow lead and remains the competition's most prolific team with 23 goals scored so far in this season. Dortmund produced a tactical masterclass to nullify Atalanta's high processing system, securing a clean 2-0 victory at the Signal Iduna Park. The German side dominated the physical battles, winning 64% of their aerial duels and limiting Atalanta to an XG of just 0.45. Jamie Gittins and Sergio Guirassy provided the goals, but it was the defensive organisation that stole the show, keeping a rare clean sheet against Gasperini's high-octane side. Dortmund's 88% progression probability is backed by a home record where they haven't conceded in their last 4 European outings. Newcastle essentially ended this tie in Baku, recording a staggering 6-1 away victory against Qarabağ that all but secures their spot in the next round. Anthony Gordon continued his breakout European campaign with a brace, taking his tally to 10 goals in the competition. The Magpies were relentless, scoring 24 shots and forcing 18 turnovers in the final third through a suffocating high press. Qarabağ's defensive structure crumbled under the sheer physical intensity of Eddie Howe's side, who converted 43% of their total shots into goals on a historic night for the club. We have Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen continuing their remarkable European consistency with a professional 2-0 win in Perouse against Olympiacos in Greece. Leverkusen controlled the tempo from start to finish, maintaining 61% of possession and completing over 600 passes to frustrate the Greek side, who again, they struggled to create high-quality chances, finishing with an XG of just 0.72 against a Leverkusen defence that recorded its 5th clean sheet of the European campaign. The Arctic Circle claimed another victim as Bodo Glimt stunned Inter Milan 3-1 on a freezing night in Norway. Inter's technical superiority was neutralised by Glimt's high-octane verticality and familiarity with the artificial turf, which saw the Italians struggle for rhythm. The Norwegians recorded 12 interceptions in the midfield third, catching Inter's veterans on the break repeatedly to secure a 2-goal cushion for the return leg. Statistically, this was Inter's poorest defensive showing of the season, allowing Glint's 7 shots on target and a worrying 2.15 xG against them. The game of the round took place in Belgium, where Club Brugge and Atletico de Madrid played out a chaotic 3-3 draw that remained on a knife edge. Diego Simeone's side uncharacteristically struggled with defensive structure, allowing Brugge to lead twice before Antoine Griezmann netted a 91st minute equaliser to keep the tie level. Both sides finished with an XG over 2.00, highlighting a rare end-to-end clash for an Atletico team. The return leg at the Montrepolitano is now effectively a winner-takes-all final, with both teams showcasing enough offensive firepower to suggest more goals are coming. Now we move to the Premier League, and the North London derby is the headline act of Gameweek 27, and the stakes couldn't be higher as Arsenal look to cement their 80.92% title chance, as we said earlier in this video. This match features a unique subplot. Ebrit Eze, formerly of Crystal Palace, will face Spurs in the red of Arsenal after completing a £67.5 million move to Emirates in the summer. Despite as it looked like Spurs would get him ahead of the Gunners. Eze has been a revelation for Mikel Arteta, averaging a 73% pass completion rate in high-pressure zones. Though critics like Alan Shearer have noted, Arsenal sometimes looks more balanced when he rotates out. Defensively, the Gunners are at their peak, carrying 73% clean sheet probability into this fixture, against a Spurs side now under the management of Igor Tudor for the rest of the season. Tudor's arrival has added an element of unpredictability to Tottenham, though they must overcome a historical trend where Arsenal has won 6 of their last 7 meetings. Arsenal's control factor for a Spurs side that throws on transition but often lacks defensive structure against elite opposition. With the title on the line, the Gunners' ability to nullify Spurs' counter-attacks through the likes of Declan Rice will be the deciding factor. Expect a high-intensity battle where Arsenal's superior squad depth and underlying numbers make them the clear statistical favourites to take all 3 points. But could Igor Tudor do what Michael Carrick did in the Manchester derby? We have Manchester City, who host Newcastle in a clash of the Titans that could decide who stays in the hunt for the top spot. City has a historical stranglehold on this type of fixture, having won 19 consecutive games against similar opposition. But Newcastle is a far tougher prospect this term, despite City beating them in the semi-final leg. I believe it was 6-1. So we have the Magpies, who have shown they can handle the big stage, beating Spurs last time out in in 5 of their last 7 meetings, and Anthony Gordon's European form suggests he is ready for the Etihad test. City will rely on their home dominance, where they average 2.8 goals per game. But Newcastle's defensive resilience makes this a much tighter contest than the odds suggest. Liverpool face a potential trap at the City ground against a Nottingham Forest side that has become a defensive fortress. Forest has a 42% clean sheet rate at home this season, a stat that could worry a Liverpool side that has occasionally struggled to convert high possession into clear-cut chances away from Anfield. Virgil van Dijk remains the most popular FPL recruit after a recent 17-point haul against Sunderland, but his defensive duties will be tested by Forest's pace on the break. A low-scoring draw is a high probability outcome here, as Forest average 18 clearances per game to frustrate elite attackers. But at Anfield, lost on the reverse fixture back in 2025, Nottingham Forest ended up winning 3-0, stunning the Liverpool fans and players. We have Chelsea versus Burnley at 3 o'clock. Chelsea, who host at Stamford Bridge in what is statistically the most one-sided game of the weekend, with the Blues holding a 57.7 win probability. Chelsea's creative metrics are through the roof, led by Cole Palmer's 78 key passes this season, while Burnley has the league's second worst defensive record on the road. The Clarets concede over an average of over 2.00 goals per away game, and with Chelsea's elite aerial duel success rate 68%, Burnley's set-piece threat is likely to be neutralised. Expect Chelsea to dominate possession and cruise to a comfortable victory as they look to solidify their top 4 position. This matchup features 2 of the league's most clinical counter-attacking teams in the battle for mid-table supremacy. Historically, West Ham's versus top half opposition tends to be low-scoring, with under 3.5 goals in 12 of their last 13 matches. Bournemouth, however, has been a statistical outlier lately, outperforming their XG by 2.4 goals over their last 3 matches. The Cherries' ability to win second balls in the midfield will be crucial against a Hammers side that relies on individual brilliance rather than sustained possession, except a tactical stalemate where the first goal likely decides the winner. This could be an interesting tie. We now have Brentford versus Brighton. The Data Derby sees 2 of the league's most statistically driven clubs go head-to-head in a clash of styles. Brentford has been efficient at home, scoring 90% of their fixtures, while Brighton continues to lead the league in progressive passes, averaging 45 per 90 minutes. Both teams have kept clean sheets in less than 20% of their games this calendar year, making both teams to score the statistical pick of the weekend. The tactical battle between Andrews and Hertzler will be fascinating, as Brighton will look to bait the press while Brentford seeks to exploit the pace on the break. We have Crystal Palace versus Wolves, where Palace have struggled to a creative spark at Selhurst Park, where their home win percentage of 37.5 is among the lowest in the division. Conversely, Wolves have seen a 15% increase in big chance creation recently, making them a dangerous opponent despite their lower league position. This fixture offers a significant chance for Wolves' upset if they cannot exploit the home side's defensive fragility. I believe Crystal Palace will think of this game as a game to win, but we have Wolves who will I think they will cause an upset, as Crystal Palace will try and think of this as an easy game. Now we've got Aston Villa versus Leeds. Aston Villa look to solidify their third place position against a Leeds side that has been a giant killer lately. Villa remains unbeaten at home in 2025 and holds a 3.04 chance of a miracle title. 3.04% chance of a miracle title run, backed by their elite offensive efficiency. Leeds' aggression pressing style has forced an average of 14 high turnovers per game, but Villa's ability to score once every 6 shots makes them the favourites. Statistically, Villa's 61.5 home win probability is high and well supported by their superior squad depth and a long winning run earlier in the season. Now, the penultimate game is Sunderland versus Fulham. Sunderland has been a defensive revelation at the Stadium of Light, conceding only 0.9 goals per game this season, and Fulham, conversely, relies on a high-volume crossing and recently played in the highest scoring game of the season, a 5-4 thriller against Manchester City back in 2025. So, this game could be interesting, but I see there's going to be high scoring, flowing, or it's going to be low scoring. So this key battle will be in the air, while Fulham wins 54% of their headers, while Sunderland centre-backs have a combined 61% aerial success rate. This match has a high probability of a draw, as both sides will likely prioritise defensive stability over taking significant chances in congested schedule. Now we've got the last game, Everton versus Manchester United on a Monday night at 8 o'clock. Manchester United travel to Goodison Park under immense pressure to reverse a trend of underperforming their XG of -4.2 goals. Everton survival hopes rest on their home form, while they have recorded a 35% clean sheet rate this season and have won 54% of their aerial duels. Historically, this is a low-scoring fixture, and with United's 14% turnover rate in the middle third, Everton might find joy on the counter-attack. Expect a tight physical match where the first goal will be the decisive, as both teams are currently struggling for clinical efficiency in the final third, despite Man United winning four games in a row. They did just draw to West Ham. So, will that back them down? I don't know. But that is every game covered with data to back it up. Whether you're an FPL manager or a title race fanatic, the numbers suggest a weekend of massive shifts. Thank you, and remember to follow for more.